If you're coming here for an Italian baked pasta dish, you're in the wrong place. The only thing Italian about this dish is the pasta and the tomatoes. Everything else, very American. For a beautifully tasting, wonderful, feel good in the stomach at home like a mac and cheese baked spaghetti. First things first, we're going to set that oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. After we've done that, we're going to put some water in a pot and boil it so we can cook our spaghetti. Now that those things are taken care of, let's grate some cheese. Once the meat is cooked and browned, we gotta add it very quickly after that. So you wanna make sure the cheese is grated and ready to go. And to do so, I'm gonna use my favorite way to grate 1 pound of Colby Jack cheese. That is by using the professional salad shooter. Just the fine one inside. If you'd like to get a professional salad shooter for yourself, the link is in the description. Now that this wonderful tasting Colby Jack cheese is all ready to go, 1 pound of it beautifully shredded, it's time to put that aside and concentrate on the vegetables that'll start the dish, the onion. I don't always take a full onion and chop it. And to help me chop it, we have the fastest chopper in the West. Cut the sides so they're going to be long when we put them in. And using the full star vegetable chopper, I'm getting my money's worth out of this puppy, let me tell you. There you go. Chopped onion. No more tears when I cut onions. Links to purchase this full star vegetable chopper are in the description below, along with the link to a full review of this bad boy. Lastly, I'm going to prep some garlic before we hit to the stove. And because we're also a fan of the flavor, I'm going to grate the garlic. If you don't want 3 cloves, you can put in less. If you like garlic more, you can put in more. However you want your garlic, you do you. We love our garlic to be grated up so that you can't see it or get big chunks, but you know it's there and you'll taste the flavor. Last thing you want to get ready before the dish itself is slicing up some tomatoes. Now I'm going to half slice, or you can quarter slice them, nice and thin. This is going to add a wonderful flavor, a nice freshness to this otherwise heavy feeling dish. When I first made this dish, I did not use any tomatoes or any spinach, and it would taste very heavy in the stomach. But once I started adding tomatoes, it gave a much, much, much lighter feeling to your stomach. You want to cut them first because you do not want to be rushing to cut the tomatoes while the hot, bubbly sauce is ready to be put into the casserole dish. You may have noticed my tomatoes are peeled. This is because Happy Healthy Wife prefers to have her tomatoes peeled. You do not have to peel your tomatoes. In fact, you don't even have to put in tomatoes in this dish. Maybe you become like my son and think it just ruins the dish itself. But Happy Healthy Wife, myself, and daughter all think tomatoes elevated this pasta bake to the next level. Now we're just going to set those tomatoes aside while we start cooking the sauce. So let's get a nice large skillet. This one's 12 inches. That'll do. Just got a nice medium high. Let's get about a tablespoon of oil in there. Let's heat it up. Let's check temperature of the oil. Nope, still slow moving across the skillet. Not good enough. All right, let's see. Yep, oil's low and smooth. See it just flowing across. Nice and ready. Put in your onion. Get your onion inside. Notice I'm not really using a spatula. Not sure what you call these things, but it's so that in the end when I have this wonderful sauce with spaghetti, I'll be able to take it all out with this beautiful boy. We want a nice slightly browned onions and magic. You see, onions got a nice light brown color on them now. So add in our garlic, 3 cloves, nice and grated. I normally just grate it right in. but for you guys, this makes it faster and easier to see. And we'll let the garlic cook for about a minute. Now we're adding a beautiful pound of ground turkey. Now you can use beef or pork, whatever ground meat you want. But we're using turkey because supposedly it's healthier. And the kids can't tell the difference. Gonna put it in and cook it till it's nice and brown on all sides, stirring up with the onion. And then if there's too much grease, depends on the time, sometimes there's too much grease, we'll drain it. And magic. And as you see the turkey now, there's a little bit of juice in there, and yes, you could probably drain that off, but it's not really enough to worry about. Now that we're at this stage in the game, the next thing to do is to take your 8 ounces of pasta and boil it. Now you might have noticed my pot of boiling water is not as big as most people's pot of boiling water. You don't really need that much water to boil your pasta. The package itself, 8 ounces of pasta, it says 3 quarts of water. But you can bet this is not 3 quarts of water. And now I'm going to commit the cardinal sin of breaking my pasta in half. Personally, I like smaller noodles. Don't forget to stir the noodles up when they first hit the water and a little after so they don't stick together. We want to put it in now once we got the, well, you do it after you drain the meat, because that's about the perfect timing for this rest of the sauce to be finished and for the noodles to be beautifully cooked. Now, other people might tell you to cook your noodles a minute or two less in the package directions for al dente before pasta baking. I don't follow that. That's not me. I like them nice and soft. I usually do 1 or 2 minutes more than the package says because that's how soft I like my noodles. So now in goes 1 can of tomato soup, and with that goes 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. See how American is this, right? Using can of soup. Very American. This is definitely not an Italian idea. A tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Can't get much more American than Worcestershire sauce. Before I forget, some salt and pepper. If you like this Gravity salt and pepper grinder, link to purchase in the description below. Link to my review of them in the description below as well. Now we gotta turn that flame really nice and low and stir it all together. So mix it all up. Make sure you want to have it all a beautiful color. You know, you don't want like red and white. You don't want to see Christmas. You want the red and white to be all blended together to a nice orange color. Beautiful. You can see why I want to use a spatula like this so that I can just scrape all the juice off the edges and leave a clean plate when we get to that part. All right, so now that you got that going, got nice and low. We're going to put into this sauce the cheese. All but about the much we're going to need to top it with in the end. About all except a quarter left. You want to add it slowly so that it'll melt nicely. And if you make it too hot at this time, the cheese is going to melt. And before the cheese, actually, or during the cheese is fine. Get some spinach going too. The spinach will wilt, and that's exactly what you want. We're going to stir it all together. Let's see. Yeah, I can put some more spinach in now because the spinach is kind of mixed in and getting wilty. Let's get that spinach nice and wilted. Now, the person I first saw this recipe from used cheddar. Cheddar is fine. Cheddar is good. Nothing against cheddar. Our family just prefers the taste of Colby Jack. Get some more of that Colby Jack in there. There you go. So I'm going to leave the rest of this, that's about a quarter cup maybe, for the top. Take that cheese and mix it in. You want it to be a nice, creamy, gooey consistency. The spinach, nice and stringy. Let's see if the pasta's ready. Oh, not yet. Gonna leave it for about another couple minutes in the hot bath. So since this is practically done, we're going to lower to full low. Ah, beautiful. But you can just take that out and have another taste test. Yep. No crunch at all. Beautifully done. We can take the pasta off. So now sometimes what you can do with the pasta You can just scoop it out like I was doing individually. And that works fine many times. But I really like this gadget. It's the Snap and Go strainer, maybe? I can't remember. The name will be there though. You'll see the name of it. And of course, link to purchase in the description below. No need for a separate strainer. Just stick it on the pot. Now look at that. The spaghetti is beautifully strained. All right, now we got a nice low simmer going on here. You can see a little skin formed at the top because it's hot and it's cheese and it's milk and it forms a skin when it's still hot and it's cooling down. So what I'm going to do now, oh, I wish you could smell that. That was a good smell. Ooh, I am looking forward to this dish. Take off the Snap and Go strainer, if that's what it's really called. I'm going to start adding the pasta. You know, does it need to be slow? No. Let's put it all in. No noodle left behind. Now at this point, don't need the heat. Just going to mix it together. Just try and mix together the pasta and the sauce. I wish you could smell this. Hey, you could smell it if you make it. The Worcestershire sauce, believe it or not. It just adds a wonderful flavor, this dish. Don't ever skip the Worcestershire sauce. You can skip the sugar. No sugar. But you can skip the salt, you can skip the pepper, but do not you dare skip that Worcestershire sauce. Alright, so take a look at that. It's very uniform, about as uniform as I can get it. Now it's time to assemble this bad boy. So now that we've finished with the sauce, just bring it over here. We're going to assemble the casserole together. We're going to start with some oil. Now you can use your spray oil, but I just like to toss in a little extra virgin olive oil, paper towel, or if you're paper towel conscious, use your hand. Nice thin layer. That's going to help keep it from sticking. So I'm going to lay in half of it, about half, best I can lay in half. That's pretty good. Spread it out evenly. Slide it down. Yeah, this is a great size casserole dish for this. We're going to add some tomatoes. We're just going to layer them in. A nice full layer of tomatoes. There we go. First layer plus tomatoes. And let's go back in and finish off the layer of pasta sauce. The more sauce you can get off the pan, the less cleaning it's going to take. One more layer of tomatoes, so I'm going to have extra tomatoes for sandwiches or salad or something else later. Nice and full. Get that last layer of cheese on top. Try and spread out evenly over the tomatoes. Don't buy that pre-grated stuff from the grocery store. It doesn't melt as well. It'll melt and create a nice solid cheese layer on top. So now you need to bake this casserole for 45 minutes. But you don't want your cheese on top to become burnt toast. So what we're going to do is first create a dome for our cheese so that it will be covered. It'll melt without getting burnt. Then the last 15, we'll take off the tint and then I'll let it get burnt. So a dome, I did mean a dome. Don't put it straight on, we're going to create a dome. A dome with the cheese. If you put it right on, it's going to stick to the cheese. We don't want that. So see, I'm creating a little dome here. It's my little secret so that I don't have to put oil on the foil. Create a nice little dome, hopefully to avoid cheese sticking to the foil. The other secret people use is oil on the foil. No oil on the foil. You don't want oil on the foil, just dome it up. We don't need to waste more oil on this dish. It's already going to be greasy enough as it is. Now we've got it ready, time to pop in the oven. I'm going to set a 30-minute timer, and then we're going to take the foil off, and we're going to cook it another 15, and I'll come back here and show you what happens when it's done. Alright, and take a look at that. Beautifully toasted on the top. A nice layer of wonderful cheese that's been browned, oh, the perfect amount. Now we're going to let this sit, because it is hot. And now, the taste test. So let's poke through and dish some out to see what it's going to look like. Happy, healthy daughter is here with me to taste this food. She affectionately called it cheese-getty. Oh, it's still steaming. It's been like 10 minutes and it's still hot. She affectionately first used to call this cheese-getty because it's all the cheese with spaghetti. The tomato was an extra addition later. Cheers, happy.
I think it's really good. The spinach flavor really comes through. The cheese is creamy. The sauce is creamy and cheesy. It accommodates the noodles well. I don't know, they all pair nicely, but I really like the spinach.
So I don't know if you ever get those pizzas with tomatoes on them, fresh tomatoes, like margarita pizza, but that's kind of how the tomato works in this dish. It's just a nice, warm, oozing flavor of tomatoey goodness. And the spinach, it's there, adds a little bit of
Flavor.
yes, adds some flavor and adds just an itsy bitsy bit of health. This dish tastes very good. It's not as heavy without spinach and tomato. If you leave those out, it's going to feel kind of heavy, more like a mac and cheese feel. But with that tomato in there and that spinach and the sauce, it's really creamy, really tasty. And with that cheese that we chose, the Colby Jack cheese, that Colby Jack cheese really makes a very tasty complement to this pasta dish. And to see our next tasty creation that's sure to fill you with joy and happiness as you chow down on the dish, click on the link over here.